Hello everybody, welcome back to Goodison Park for this Premier League fixture. It's Everton versus Manchester City. I'm Sarah Halpin, delighted to be joined by Graham Stuart, of course, but let's have a quick look at what's to come for you today here on Everton Live. So first of all, we will have the highlights of that impressive 3-0 win versus Leeds a couple of weeks ago here at Goodison Park. We'll have the player arrivals for you, the team news as it drops for both Everton and Manchester City. I spoke to Helen Tweedle and David Cook from the Everton Accessibility Stewards. I've got an interview with Ashley Cole. Michael Ball just joined me pitch sides for a chat ahead of this one. We've got an interview with Joe Edwards. We'll hear from Frank Lampard, and as ever, the live commentary will be available on evertonfc.com. Diamond, we're back.
We are back.
It was
always
a great one.
good to be back.
It is, isn't it? And obviously, you know, a disappointing result last time out against Southampton. We know that, and we know of all teams that you follow up from Manchester City. It's not the team you want to play for anybody. They're top of the league for a reason. But it's so important that we make a good account for ourselves today and try and get something from this game, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think it's quite obvious that we are going to have to be at our very best.
Of course.
And you're probably going to have to catch Manchester City on a bad day as well. If those two conundrums come together, fantastic, we might get a result. I'm a realist. I know this is going to be tough. All the fans will come here, they'll be full of optimism. They'll support the team, you know as well as I do, like they have done for the last couple of games here at Goodison Park. They'll be right behind the team. But they'll also be recognising the fact that Manchester City are probably the best team in the league. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a very, very tough day. But we can dig in, and it could absolutely give ourselves a massive confidence boost. Even if we drew the game, it would give everybody a lift, because it's a result against one of the top sides, not only in British football but in the world. Absolutely. So I think, you know, today and it will also give Frank a chance to see who can deal with playing against top players. Yeah. So it'll give him a chance to assess his players as well. Absolutely.
It's a big challenge for Frank Lampard and for Everton today, and we'll have more on that, of course, over the next hour. But first, let's throw it back to when we beat Leeds here a couple of weeks ago.
Seamus Coleman plays a 1-2. Van Der Beek across the face of 6 yards. We go in, yes! Seamus Coleman turns it in with a header on the line. There's one for the collector's book. Seamus Coleman with his first goal since May 2019.
I ain't got the blues no more, I said. Steps on more, I said. Pick me up,
Anthony Gordon whips it in. Deeper. Header comes in and it's a goal again! And it's a defender again, Michael Keane!
Got the blues no more, I said. Steps on more, I said. Pick me up, I got my booty, I ain't. Rock in my head. I ain't got the blues no more, I said. Steps on more, I said. Pick me up, I got.
Here's Allen, picks up the ball. He's got Richarlison to his right. He picks it up, puts it on his left boot, hits it, and it's in! Bottom corner goal! A third goal for Everton. It's 3-0 now. That is game over for Everton. Leeds United will not come back from this one.
It was an absolutely fantastic day, that, wasn't it? Some fantastic football from Everton and a clean sheet and a win. Obviously, it was disappointing then to follow that with such a disappointing result at Southampton. And against Southampton, that midfield, you know, we looked like we were being kind of taken advantage of in midfield. We've heard that Decore is back in the squad potentially today. Do you think it'll be too soon to see him start?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he started the game, Sarah. I mean, I think when you've been out for that amount of time, to walk straight back in and play and be expected to play from the start, it's probably a little bit unrealistic. I would imagine he'll probably be on the bench. There's word that Demarai Gray might be available as well. Same thing for Demarai, probably on the bench and tentatively getting back into it as well. So, look, I mean, it's one of those games where, as a manager, you're probably looking at it and you're thinking, look, we're going to absolutely have to be at our best to win this game. Yeah. Do I want to take a risk with two of my better players against the best team? Or do you just give them a little 20 minutes at the end, run around, get themselves back into it, get themselves another week's training down the line and a more realistic target of winning the game of football against Boreham Wood on Thursday night? So that would be what I would imagine Frank would be thinking about, introducing those two back into the fold. Today, probably a little bit too early.
Yeah, and that's it, as you said, you know, being realistic about this. We know it's not a game where you're coming into it expecting Everton to get the 3 points or expecting to get a result, because it's going to be tough. So yeah. I would like to think, and I'm sure we'll give a good account of ourselves today, but maybe just a little bit too soon for those two. But we've certainly missed them, haven't we? The pair of them, Demarai and Decore.
Yeah, I mean, Abdullah's energy levels and his athleticism around the park is what we need. We know we that's one area I feel we've struggled a little bit in terms of energy levels in the middle of the park. Abdullah helps us with that. Demarai's probably arguably been our best player through the season.
Yeah.
So of course you're going to miss him as well. He gives you a goal threat. He creates chances as well. So the temptation is to get him back in the side. But you've also got to look after the long-term goal, which is we've got another 15 Premier League games to deal with, and we don't want to we don't want them out injured anymore, do we?
No, absolutely we don't. And you know, a couple of other players we can see there, the player arrivals on the screen. There he is, Demarai Gray, just gone past there. But at the last performance at Goodison Park, here, John Joe Kenny, Alexander Iwobi, Donnie Van Der Beek, you know, those were some of the players that were real standouts and had fantastic games. Yeah. Do we expect to see them in the starting lineup today? Do you think they can replicate that kind of performance?
Again, the question was, can you replicate that away at Southampton? Mm-hmm. The answer was no. And that's what my concern would be, because if I'm Frank Lampard, I'm scratching my head, because I'm looking at us playing here against Leeds, creating chances left, right and centre, scoring 3 goals, keeping a clean sheet. OK, they hit the bar a couple of times. We had to ride our luck in that situation. But can you go and do that the week after? Can you replicate that performance? And unfortunately, the answer for us was no. And that's why we're where we are in the table. So the job for Frank and all his staff is to get the consistency back in the side. Can we win 2 or 3 on the spin? Because if we can win 2 or 3 on the spin, all of a sudden we're not even remotely looking at the bottom end of the table. You're looking at mid-table and thinking, OK, you know, we've struggled, but we're looking a bit more comfortable now. But we've got to get a level of consistency back in our play.
We do, and that's something that the manager's spoken very openly about, isn't he? That, you know, there's things that he's seen and that he's recognised before, from a distance before he came to Everton Football Club, and since he's been here, and those things maybe reared their heads a little bit in the last game out against Southampton, and I'm sure they're working hard. But this is a process, you know. Things aren't going to happen overnight, are they? We were fantastic against Brentford, against Leeds. Couple of disappointing performances in between, but you know, this group of players, they've got it in them, haven't they, to pull out a good performance?
They have, and there lies your frustration, because we know that it's in them to perform like they did against Brentford, to perform like they did against Leeds. Mm-hmm. The disappointment for everybody is that they don't go and replicate it 2 days later at Newcastle or a week later at Southampton, and there lies the frustration. And it's not just for us as supporters, it's for Frank and his staff, and they're thinking, well, what team am I supposed to pick? You know, you've gone out and won 3-0 against Leeds. None of you deserve to be left out. I'm going to pick the same team, but you don't get anything like the level of performance that you saw here. So there's a frustration. You're quite right. It's a process. We need to, you know, I don't want to be doom and gloom about it, but it's not going to happen overnight. Mm-hmm. It needs to happen quickly because of the situation that we're in. But in the long term, Frank's nobody's fault. He's played at a top football club at Chelsea all his career. He's won trophies, he's played under fantastic managers, he's learned everything, he's hungry, and he's not going to make mistakes. And let's go and get the team.
Let's get the team news.
Don't listen to me about rattling on. Let's get some teams.
It's flown by today, Graham. Honestly, I was just getting the call, then I hadn't realised the time, to be honest. But here is your Everton team. We can talk about it much more now.
Oh my word!
Jordan Pickford in goal. John Joe Kenny gets the nod to start. Mason Holgate, Michael Keane, Alan Richarlison, Abdoulaye Doucouré does start for Everton. Okay, so maybe we're a little bit surprised by that one. Great to see him back. Alex Iwobi starts again at Goodison Park. Seamus Coleman, Anthony Gordon, and Donnie Van Der Beek as well. Let's have a look at the substitutes that we've got today. Of course, Begovic, Nathan Patterson, Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, Vitaly Mikalenko, Jared Branthwaite, Salomon Rondon, Anwar Ghazi, and Dele Alli as well there. And let's have a look. We haven't even spoken about Manchester City yet and their team and how they might set up, but here it is. We are about to find out. As expected, Ederson in goal, Ruben Diaz, John Stones makes his return to Goodison Park again, Raheem Sterling, Ilkay Gundogan, Almeric Laporte, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, João Cancelo, and Phil Foden. Oh my goodness, every single player that they have is just...
They're not bad,
they're
are
not
they?
a bad team, are they, Graham? Carson, Slicker, Walker, Ake, Jesus, who's got a fantastic record against Everton, so I'm quite happy to see him starting on the bench today. Jack Grealish, who we thought might be a push, is on the bench. Zinchenko, Fernandinho, and Riyad Mahrez as well starts on the bench, who's been a fantastic player. I think he's probably been about Manchester City's best player so far this season with his goals and assists. So those are the teams. Firstly, Doucouré, I guess, to start with Everton.
Yeah.
He gets the nod to start.
That is a surprise for me. You know, we've spoken about it a few minutes before. It's a surprise. I think Frank's probably looking at it and thinking, right, well, look, you know, we're against a side that are very, very strong in possession. We might need his energy levels. Go out there, give me what you got. Give me an hour of everything you can do, and then, you know, I'll look after you and take you off. I think that's probably what he's thinking there. But yes, it's a surprise to see him in the team. I am a little bit surprised after such a long time out, but go and give it your best shot for an hour or so.
Definitely, and I think he's made a different stuff to Doucouré. You know, he's just an engine, isn't he? So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he still has a bit in his tank. But who else? Is there any other players you want to pick out there that have got the nod to start today for Everton?
No, I mean, look, we've just got to get back to doing what we did against Leeds. We've got to press them. If you sit off Manchester City and let them play, they'll turn you over. They'll destroy you. They're very, very good in possession. It's very, very easy for us to stand here now and say, you know, do this and do that. When you're up against world-class players, and every single one of them's a world-class player, and incidentally, the lads on the bench aren't too bad either.
That's the thing, isn't it?
You know, he's got the spoils. He's got riches everywhere he looks at. The manager there at Manchester City, so he can do whatever he wants. So we're just going to have to just give it our best shot, dig in, close down, be positive, get the crowd up, because the crowd will be on our side. There's no doubt about it. They're nobody's fools, the crowd. They'll be here, and they're not particularly expecting us to roll Manchester City over, are they?
Of course
they're
not.
They're realists, but what they are expecting, give me everything you've got.
This is it.
Show me some passion. Show me that you want to get in their faces and you don't want to make it an easy afternoon for them. And hopefully we'll have a decent afternoon.
That's what we want, isn't it? You know, we want to make this an uncomfortable day for Manchester City.
Yeah.
We've got to give it our absolute everything. And talking about Manchester City, that team, we just said they've every single player they've got, even on the bench. You know, they've got Mahrez, Jesus on the bench. So you've got to weather the storm and then also be aware that they've got so many weapons up their sleeves of players that can come on and do really well.
Yeah, look, we're where we are for a reason, and they're there where they are for a reason. That's we have to accept that. Mm-hmm. They're there because they're a fantastic side. Now, the argument's always going to rain on about whether they should have gone and got centre forward. They're doing not bad for a side that hasn't bought a centre forward. I mean, we can all have the argument, should they have spent 100 million on Grealish or should they have spent the £100 million on Kane? Personally, I'd have gone and got Harry Kane because in the big scheme of it, exactly, even if you have to spend 125 million, go and get Kane because it's the one area in your side where you need. Yeah. You know, if you get a centre forward at Manchester City, you're winning everything.
This is it.
So, but they didn't. I don't personally think they definitely needed Grealish. They've got Sterling, they've got De Bruyne, they've got Mahrez.
Greedy!
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Grealish is a fantastic player.
Isn't he?
He's an absolutely fantastic player, but when you look at the big picture, the one thing Manchester City have needed over the last couple of years is an out-and-out centre-forward. So personally, if it had been me, and if it was a possibility, we don't know what's happened behind the scenes, we don't know, but I would have gone and got Harry Kane for that kind of money that they spent on Grealish.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, quite glad that Harry Kane isn't here. We'll have to look forward to him next week.
He's only Monday night, yeah. We've only got a week off.
We haven't got too long till that one. But we'll have more on this game shortly, but today is our level playing field fixture. So earlier I spoke to our accessibility stewards. Welcome back to Everton Live, and as we've already mentioned throughout the show so far, today is our level playing field fixture, and to join us to talk about this is our accessibility head stewards Helen Tweedle and Dave Cook as well. Now I'm going to start with you, Helen. Obviously through COVID times, the coronavirus, we were still here, but we missed having the fans here. It was a tough time, wasn't it?
Oh, it was awful. I mean, these fans, especially the accessibility fans, you know, it's something that they really look forward to. It's the life. You know, not being able to come, it's not the same as watching it on the TV. You know, it's the atmosphere, seeing your other colleagues, seeing us as well, because they all miss us, because we get used to seeing the same people coming through the gate, you know, week in, week out.
And the thing is, as well, of course, your role is to make sure that everybody enjoys the game of football, enjoys their experience. So you do build that rapport, don't you? Quite strong bonds with them.
Yes, yeah, you
do.
do.
You missed having that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we did as well, yes. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Absolutely. And Dave, just to come to you as well now.
Well, I was just going to... Sorry, go on.
No, go on. You tell us what you were going to say.
Well, I was just saying the first game back, it was a bit surreal because we hadn't seen people for so long. So many of them had changed as well.
Yeah.
And we were all masked up, and it was just a bit weird. But then when said cars kicked in and the hair goes up on your arms, and it was just so good to be back.
That's it, you know, Goodison Park and Everton, it's so much more than just the actual game of football. We know that, you know, that's the bread and butter, but it's the social side of things. It's people's whole lives, isn't it? So what was it like, as you said, that first game back, what was it like throughout the whole experience?
It was just, in some ways, it was a bit emotional because we've been away for so long, and you know, to see people that we've had a good rapport with, and we keep in touch with fans throughout throughout the pandemic. We've got fans who come here with accessibility needs. They come from Southend, home and away, Stevenage, home and away, Croydon, home and away. There's people come from all over the country to support Everton, and as Helen said earlier on, it's their life, and it was just great to have fans back.
And you know, it's thanks to you guys and all the accessibility stewards that make that experience so fantastic for everybody. But Helen, just to come to you again as well, and can you tell us a little bit about these special accessibility areas here at Goodison Park?
Well, we've got some fantastic facilities now. As you know, we've had platforms built. We've got one. I manage the away side. We've got a small platform over there for the away. We've also got the platforms in the park end, the ones over here, and they've got lifts, their own lifts. They've got their own toilets, bar, cafes, you know, there's everything there for them, so you know, they're very well looked after. It's great, and we've had some fantastic feedback. We've also got a huge changing room in the courtyard, which we've had very good positive feedback from that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
going above and beyond to make sure that everybody is included.
Everybody's included, you know, nappy changing, anything.
That's what you need, you know, on these days with people with special requirements, just knowing that their needs are met and that they can come to the game without any worries, knowing that such people as yourselves are going to take care of them. And I was going to say, Dave, as well, what is it, you know, on a match day, what is your role?
Well, essentially my role is I'm head steward for the accessibility team. So there's myself. I cover 3/4 of the grounds from halfway around the Bullens up to fantastic facility we've got in the far corner there, the ambulant disabled area as well, where there's wider leg room and wider seats for people who may have had injuries but can't sit in their normal seats. That's another improvement we made over there in the corner. Yeah, so my role is basically to be head steward for the accessibility team. I'm ably assisted by 3 wonderful deputy head stewards and a team of 24 staff who they just know their business, they know their fans, and they know their areas.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for not only coming on the show, but for everything that you do every match day to make sure that every Evertonian is included and enjoys their experiences here at Goodison Park. So keep up the excellent work, and thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, so we were just talking off air there as well, weren't we, about the obvious one that's missing today from the squad for Everton, and that is Dominick Calvert-Lewin. We've just had confirmation that it is a minor injury and he should be out for 7 to 10 days. Very disappointing though, isn't it? Especially given we're desperate for him to find his form again and all the rest of it. You don't want your big centre forward out for games like this.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it so many times so far this season. If you're missing your number 9, especially here at Everton. It hurts you. It really does hurt you. And he came back. I thought his performance against Leeds was absolutely outstanding. Not the pace that he played. His hold-up play was absolutely outstanding against Leeds. Again, you can talk about Southampton and he wasn't, as good, and but nor was anybody else.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
It's going to be a miss. 100%, it's a miss to not have Dominick's athleticism, his hold-up play, and somebody, as a midfield player, ex-midfield player, somebody you can bang the ball into, get hold of, and run off, and what have you. So, disappointing, hugely disappointing, and just what makes what is going to be a difficult afternoon even more difficult.
Absolutely. We were speaking again off air before about luck and sometimes needing the luck. For example, today we need a bit of luck to go our way if we're to get something from the game. And throwing it back to last weekend, obviously it was disappointing, but we didn't have the rub of the green there either, did we? If you score first in games, it can be very different. And outside Southampton, we were just talking about it there. It looked like Everton should have absolutely had the penalty.
Absolutely.
We don't want to cry it in, but those are things that we don't make enough of things.
Sarah, you're absolutely spot on, and I was crying like mad. I mean, if anybody heard me on commentary with Darren Griffiths down at Southampton, I was absolutely fuming because I'm sat 80 yards away from the incident, and as soon as it hit his arm, I went, penalty, it's a penalty, Daz, it's a penalty. And he was like that, blah, blah, blah. And then when it took a while for him to check it, and then when they started to check it, I was like that. Well, it's impossible to not give it. You can't not give it. If it's away, if it's a yard away from me and you, and I smash the ball against your arm, fair enough. I've got no issue whatsoever in the referee saying no, there's nothing you could do about it, or VAR turning around and say he couldn't get out of the way. But he's Seamus puts the ball in. Romeo, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's 10 yards away from him. 10 yards away, and it hits his arm. And you can't not give a penalty. And I was going bananas. I genuinely was. And anybody who listens to the commentary will back me up on that, because it upset me and it frustrates me to know that people are actually having a second look at it, clearly down on monitors at Stockley Park, and they can't see it. I don't get it. I'll never be able to understand it, and it drives me insane. And as you said, that first goal can totally and utterly transform the concept of the game, and it could have made the afternoon a lot easier for us.
Definitely. So, plenty of things have gone against us this season. It is definitely frustrating. We'll hope that there'll be none of that today. But we heard from Ashley Cole earlier. Let's hear what he had to say.
Ashley, thanks for taking the time to speak to us. It's been just about 3 weeks since you joined the club. How are you finding your role so far?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Of course, it was a long time coming in terms of my kind of appointment here, but very delighted to be here now and get to work.
Tell us about how the move came about. Did it happen quite quickly in the end?
No, I think in the end it was, a quick process. I got the phone call to say, would I be happy to join? Obviously, I was at Chelsea at the time, so if all went well at Chelsea and they allowed me to go, then it's a great opportunity to learn and develop here, but also really get stuck into it and try help Everton and get them up the table as quick as we can.
You went straight into coaching after you finished your playing days. Does this feel like a significant step for you though, coming in as a first team coach in a Premier League club at a club like Everton?
Yeah, it's a massive step. I've tried to do a lot of that learning and developing from the younger ages, kind of honing on my coaching techniques and skills, and of course develop as a person and learn as a person, and then now to be given an opportunity here to work with some top class players is it was my dream. So to finally be here now and try work towards something, a great club is been fantastic so far.
Frank's obviously someone you know well from your playing days. You're obviously managing and coaching now. What's it like to work with him?
Yeah, but this is a second opportunity really. I've been in and around him. Of course, I went to Derby for 6 months and played under him, so I got to see his work there, and it was very thorough. I think the players are taking it on board so far, and he's added a great young coach with a lot of grass experience in Joe. We've added Clem, of course, Paul Clement, who's worked at some of the top clubs in the world. So, it was about me just coming in and trying to fit into the puzzle that he already had. And of course, improve the team, improve the morale, improve the quality, and get us as high up that table as we can now.
How have you found the transition from playing to coaching?
No, it's been fine. I think, I had a great opportunity in LA Galaxy. I think that's where I got my hunger and desire to want to coach and try and improve and help players develop. And, again, going back to Chelsea, I work with the younger age groups and, again, try to really develop my coaching style and skills and really understand the game from a coach's perspective. And then to, of course, develop and kick on, you need to be in and around first teams. This opportunity for me is great, but ultimately as well, I'm held accountable. I need to improve these players just as much as the gaffer and the other coaches here.
Welcome back to Everton Live. Now, I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Gwyn from Carolina Evertonians. So it's a bit of a journey for you here today, Gwyn, hasn't it?
Not too bad. It's been 5,000 miles. So I took my daughter around the UK. We went around Bath, London, up to Edinburgh, and back down here, ready for this one before we fly home.
Fantastic. Well, let's hope you and your daughter have got something to celebrate after all those thousands of miles journey.
We hope so. 3-0 today.
Oh, listen,
3-0.
Gwyn can come on every week. I love that optimism.
3-0. Cup final.
Well, listen, it's a big game, isn't it, Gwyn?
Absolutely.
You know, it's a massive game in Everton's season. We know that we're in a position in the league where we don't want to be and where we shouldn't be, but we are here.
100%.
And we're playing the league leaders.
Yeah.
How do we get a result today, mate?
Play like we did a couple of weeks ago. Play like we got nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
Nice. Put it in front of them, get in front of them, get in their faces and get on with it.
I love that. Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about Carolina Evertonians and how many you are, how you formed and all that great stuff?
Carolina Toffees, about 2013. There's about 450 of us.
Ooh.
We cover an area of about 78,000 square miles.
Wow.
The UK is 96, something like that. So It's a big area that we cover. We've got branches all over the North and South Carolina. Winston-Salem all the way down to Charleston, and we're actually based in Greenville, South Carolina.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's quite something, though.
78,000 square
miles worth of Evertonians. We do
love
get
it.
everywhere. We say this, I love getting fans on here from different supporters groups all over the world.
Yeah.
But you can't go anywhere in the world and not find an Evertonian, can you?
No, we are everywhere.
We are
here
everywhere.
and there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So talk to me about match days. What do you all do? Do you all get together and watch the Blues?
Yeah, we've got different locations. I'm based in Greenville, so we've got a place there. We've got one of the guys in Anderson. Our home base is Queen City Bites and Craft in Charlotte, North Carolina. Down in Charleston, Columbia, South Carolina, Winston-Salem, Asheville, North Carolina. We've got them everywhere. So the guys will meet up, whoever can get to one of the meetups, and off we go. Otherwise, host them at your house.
Oh, I love this. I need to get to America. We had Bridget Bryson on a few weeks ago as well. She's a hoot, isn't she?
We are stronger than them.
It's absolutely brilliant, and I love it. And as I said, the passion. So for me, the fact that you guys have to get up at crazy times in the mornings and all the rest of it to watch Everton, it's dedication, isn't it?
It is, but it's normal for us now.
Yeah.
I went over there in 2008, 2009. We've been doing it for 14 years nearly, so yeah, so it's normal.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, normal stuff. Drinking at 6 o'clock in the morning might not be.
I was going to say that might not be the worst thing in the world, to be honest. I'm there saying it's dedication, but it really is. And do you want to talk to us about Carolina Toffees?
What do we do? We're actually got a meet-up coming up, Sarah. We've got one with the Greenville Triumph coming, and with the Greenville Triumph for the Derby Day, we want to get everyone together. So we're bringing the North American Toffees together, US supporters clubs. That's going to be on the 23rd, downtown Greenville, and we're going to do it with a local soccer club. We're doing that, so we've got an engagement with the team locally. They're also a Hummel team.
Brilliant.
And they're going to bring in Jeff Dubeck, who leads the Hummel North America, John Harks, who's the coach for Greenville Triumph, and Jürgen Meinke, who's the marketing lead for Pulse for Everton in the States. He said that he's going to get joined in, and we'll see what we can do because he's friends there with John. So we should get everything moving. It's going to be an RSVP event. Mm-hmm. We're going to push that one down, make sure that all the leads for the supporters clubs have got the invitations, and then from there we're going to pile in about 75 people in this little store in the middle of downtown Greenville, South Carolina, and cheer on the Blues with a bit of breakfast and beer. Yeah,
that's absolutely perfect, mate. It's brilliant. Well, I've loved having you on the show here today. It's brilliant, and I want you to enjoy the game with your daughter, and hopefully we'll have something for you to celebrate on your long journey home, eh?
3-0, eh?
3-0, you heard it here first from Gwyn. Brilliant
Nice one.
stuff.
All right,
Thank
Sarah.
you, Gwyn.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Now here is Michael Ball. Earlier I had a chat to him ahead of this one. Welcome back. Delighted to be joined by former Everton and Manchester City player Michael Ball. Now, Bally, what are you feeling about this one? It's obviously a big game, but like Frank Lampard said, there's still a long way to go. We know how tough this game is going to be today against the league leaders.
Yeah, when you're playing the league leaders, it's always a difficult game, but it's a huge opportunity for our boys to showcase their ability. When you play against a good top side, you're challenging yourself. If you try and win your battles, you're up against world-class players. So it's an opportunity for you to see where you sit. Winning your battles individually will help us. But, Man City are a top side, but, they're not FIFA. They're not robots. They showed that against Tottenham where, sometimes it doesn't go their way. So hopefully at Goodison Park, the fans will be up for it, and we might get our moments and special occasions that we can put the ball away. We're going to get opportunities, but it's going to be difficult. They keep the ball. The possession they have is always spot on. So as Frank Lampard said, we've got to be tight, we've got to be sort of win our own battles, but protect the goal, protect Jordan Pickford as much as possible. But on the counter-attack, which we will get breaks, can try and use our own qualities to force the issue.
Of course, and was it 4 or 5 years ago when Manchester City was so dominant and we ended up winning 4-0 here at Goodison Park. Tom Davies, of course, with that legendary goal. How much would someone like Anthony Gordon like to follow in his footsteps? And obviously he's been fantastic recently, scoring a goal just about against Leeds the other week, taking it over Richie, the last little nick. It's someone like, he'd be well up for this today, won't he, Anthony Gordon? Yeah,
of course. Anthony's he's come in, his enthusiasm has been, I think it's bounced off everybody. The fans have talked to him straight away. He's a youngster learning the trade, trying to develop, but he's even showing a lot of leadership, asking for the ball in difficult circumstances and trying to, while Hans and Townsend's being out and Demarai Gray's come in and done well, trying to cause issues for the opposition, but Anthony's took that on himself to be a key player for us. So he's got the ability to do that, and to showcase that against a top quality side, that'll give him a huge confidence. And we always remember that game here where again, City were running away with the league and they had all the possession, but the only stats that count is goals, in which I think we had 4 shots and we won 4-0. So fingers crossed it can happen again.
Definitely, and stranger things have happened. We know we're not at the end of the table, that we want to be quite the opposite. We want to start climbing that as soon as possible. We can get a result today, though. It'll be tough, but we are capable, aren't we?
Yeah, at moments. Look, our season's not hung on today. We've got, we're in a relegation, battle really. We're not safe yet. We've got other games where we would like to pick up points, but I wouldn't say this is more of a free hit, but it's just a showcase for the manager to get to know his players a lot more. We've had difficult games. It's probably been a 50-50 since Frank's come. Yeah. The atmosphere here last time was fantastic, and if the fans will be up for it again, it could shock Manchester City, and hopefully we'll grow in confidence and try and nick something.
It will be one of those. If we are to get a result today, we know how good City are, and we'll have to be at our best and try and catch them when we can. But can I get a prediction for you? Is that too much?
Anything. A couple of corners, I do. No, but yeah, hopefully we'll get a point out of today's game.
Yeah, I think we'd take that, wouldn't we? Yeah. Bally, thank you so much for your time and enjoy the game, mate.
Cheers, no worries, thank you.
We just had a bit of an Indiana Jones moment there, didn't we? Where he goes to reach in and grab his hat at the last minute. Diamond just jumped out. He's ever the professional,
I'm quicker than I look, I'm telling you now.
We've got 3 seconds, Diamond, he's here, he's right on time. Brilliant stuff. So we've just spoke to Gwyn there. It's brilliant, isn't it? You do a lot of stuff with the American toffees, don't you? They're fantastic.
Yeah, do you know what? When we went out to Orlando for pre-season, they were absolutely outstanding. All the toffees were here, and it was a little bit difficult because we couldn't go and see as many people as we wanted to because of the COVID restrictions out there. But myself and Darren Griffiths and Mo Magazaki, we were out there. Paddy was out there with all the coaches doing some fantastic sessions with all the young kids and what have you. So as a football club, we tried to do everything we possibly can or could within the rules, but we engaged a fair amount of things to with the American toffees, and hopefully we'll go out again certainly within the next year or two and push that on as well.
Definitely, we love our American toffees. It's fantastic stuff. But here's another interview with Joe Edwards. We spoke to him earlier.
Joe, thanks for taking the time out to speak to us. Welcome, first of all. How have you found this first couple of weeks here at Everton?
Exciting, obviously straight into the deep end with straight into the games. It's the first time for me personally to be the new boy in a long time, so a lot of names and a lot of faces to get used to around the building, but everyone's been so welcoming, and the players have responded really well from the training sessions and in the games, so it's felt like a really positive start.
You joined the club as assistant manager under Frank. How excited were you to get that call?
I was excited to get the call from Frank. It was a difficult decision for me. Obviously, Chelsea is a club that I've spent most of my life at, and I was in a position there where I was happy, and obviously being part of a big club that are competing for a lot of competitions, it's not an easy decision to make to walk away from that. But having worked with Frank before and knowing what that's like, knowing how that sort of tests me and develops me personally, you know, in a professional point of view. To get the opportunity to work with Frank again was massive, but added to that, the fact that it was a club of the size of Everton was obviously just a decision that became fairly easy to make. It could have been a hard one, and it was difficult to leave somewhere that felt like home to me, but an incredible opportunity for me that I felt that I had to take.
Tell us about your relationship with Frank. Obviously, you've known him for a long time now. I believe you first came into contact with each other when you took a training session while he was still a player. Tell us a little bit about that relationship and how it's evolved over time.
Yeah, so when Frank was a player, something had happened where the first team travelled somewhere and a few players stayed back. Frank, Didier Drogba, a couple of others, and for some reason I was the one that was left covering the group. I don't know if one of the academy coaches was away sick or something, but yeah, I took a session that Frank was in, and I was told after that Frank enjoyed the session, enjoyed the intensity, and then we obviously just would see each other around the training ground. And when Frank then retired, we kept in touch, and then he came back and did some of his early bits of coaching at the academy, and you know, obviously that continued the relationship. And then when Frank was the Derby manager, we'd also had talks about possibly me joining his team at Derby at some point. But then in the summer that we'd been speaking about that, he ended up getting the Chelsea job, and when he was named the manager at Chelsea, he moved me from the under-23 coach to join his coaching team, which was, you know, at the time, me being at my club to join the first team and work alongside, you know, probably the greatest player the club's ever had. It was an amazing opportunity.
Welcome back to Everton Live. I'm delighted to be joined by Dave Kelly and Scott McLeod as well from Everton Football Club, and we're here to talk about the ESSG. Now, for you that don't know about this, that's why we've got you fine fellows here. So, Dave, do you want to tell us about the Everton Stakeholder Steering Group?
Yep, absolutely, Sarah. Easier said than done. I hope I'll manage to keep going till kick-off, because it's quite a complicated and long-winded answer to that. But basically, the ESSG was set up mainly on the back of the fan-led review, which most fans will have probably have heard of, which was a government initiative to empower fans and to improve the fan-led experience. So I think, in fairness to Evertonians and to Everton Football Club itself, I think we've made massive strides over the last 12 months. It's been an absolute pleasure working with the full diversity of the whole of the fan groups right across the whole of the piece. This isn't an easy ask to be part of the ESSG. It's quite a complex one to make sure that we've got everyone's views on board. And we've got to say, in fairness to Everton Football Club, personally I'd applaud them for not just supporting the initiative. They've clearly grasped the nettle and played a major part for it. And as ever, I believe that Everton Football Club will probably be one of the first to introduce a fan advisory board. That's the aspiration, and I think that's the aspiration that we can all achieve.
Definitely, and we've got the survey as well, of course, which Evertonians have been filling in and can continue to do so. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and for those who haven't yet got involved with the survey, when they can do it and how? Yeah,
absolutely. I think one of the most often asked questions I get asked by people is lots of people are unhappy with the way things have gone. And I get that, and I understand and I subscribe to a lot of it. Here is their opportunity to play a major part in the influence complete that survey, get it returned, send it back. It's no good saying we played no part in that, we had no influence in that. The ESSG are urging people, deadline's pretty close, get it filled in, get it returned and get it back. It's no good standing outside the stadium protesting saying we haven't got a voice. This is your real opportunity to get involved in something that'll be open and transparent. It'll be democratic. The fans will be electing the members to the fan advisory board. It'll be ours. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I would urge everyone get to grips with it and get on board and support it. Don't know if you want to add anything to that, Scott?
Yeah, just reiterate everything you say there, Dave, in relation to the importance of the fan advisory board and making sure that it's formed in the right way and in a cohesive structure that can stand the test of time and basically be in place for generations to come, to give fans an opportunity to be a voice and have their voice heard, and have their voice heard at the highest levels of the club.
Definitely, and we've seen recently, haven't we, the past sort of 12 months or so, just how important it is that fans' voices are heard, and Everton are taking massive strides to make that, done more often, and that's only a positive thing, surely, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Over the last 12 months since the the fan-led review was initiated on the back of the proposed European Super League, we've been on the front foot. We were one of the first clubs, in fact we were the first club to come out in opposition to the European Super League. We were one of the first clubs to actively engage with fan groups, and it's great that the Stakeholder steering group was formed by fan groups as well. There's so many different fan groups represented. Thousands of fans are represented within the Stakeholder steering group, and now they're going out to the wider fan base, asking them what they want the terms of reference to look like for the shape of the fan advisory board. What do they want fan representation at boardroom level to look like, and how will that be shaped for generations to come? So we're really eager and happy to play a part in working with Dave and the ESSG to make sure that when the fan advisory board is launched by the end of this season, it's structured and shaped in such a way that is really tangible and robust fan articulation of their views and opinions that can be fed back to the club.
It's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic initiative. Sorry, Dave.
I'd just like to add to that. I think the pleasing thing about this, I've been fortunate enough to attend most of the meetings, and there's a tendency for most football supporters who support most clubs to say, yeah, we had a meeting but they're just playing lip service to us. In fairness, during this journey with the ESSG about setting up a fan advisory board, the club have listened, and not only have they listened, they've been incredibly proactive, and they need to be applauded for that. I know a couple of people have asked us, why is it that the survey is being done via the club? Well, the survey is being done via the club because of many legal aspects to it. Because the ESSG isn't a legal entity, it would have caused massive problems, and it would have probably delayed the process by 6 months while we became a legal entity. And I can assure anyone who fills it that we won't have their data. The club who have their data have still got their data. It was the club that sent it out, and it's the club who will have your data. We won't have any of the data, and without that, I doubt that we would have been the first club to get to where we are today, and fair play to them for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, it's a pleasure to talk to you both and get some more information off what's fantastic fan advisory board, and I applaud both parties for getting involved and bringing the fans' voices forward. So thank you so much, and best of luck with it all. Make sure you get online and fill out your survey if you want to be involved and have your voices heard, and we'll speak to you soon.
Michael, there's a show of support for the Ukraine from both clubs today. It's an unprecedented and awful situation, but for you personally and the other players, how have you been supporting Vitaly?
Well, as the manager said yesterday, said it in our team meeting too, Vitaly's got the support of everyone at the club, whatever he needs. It's obviously devastating what's going on in Ukraine at the minute, but we're speaking to him every day, checking how he is, and obviously it's a tough time for him, but we're here for him as and when he needs us.
You also have an important job to do, which feels very secondary to that in terms of today. Does it give you a little bit of confidence, if you like? Your best performances so far under Frank Lampard have come here at Goodison.
Yeah, definitely. I think the two games under the new manager here have been excellent. The intensity of our play, the way we've pressed, and our quality as well. So we have to show that again. We need to work on obviously showing it away from home, but back at home with our fans behind us. If we give them something to get behind us with, then it can make a difference.
How tough will it be to get something out of today?
It will be tough. City are an unbelievable team, but like any team, they can lose games. We saw it last week. I'm sure they'll be desperate to bounce back and get a win, but whenever we play them, it's going to be tough. We have our game plan. We need to stick to it. We need to get the fans behind us and see what we can do, but we're confident we've got good enough players. We just need to have a great performance ourselves and see where that takes us.
Yeah, so Michael Keane there ahead of this one. Obviously, he was on the score sheet, wasn't he, Diamond, against Leeds back in the last home game. We need a big performance from him today, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue it's a difficult one for the centre-halves because they're not really a recognised centre-forward. They float around and they're so fluent in the way that they play. So there's no one really up against you. So normally when you're playing against a centre-forward, it's you against them and, it's who comes out on top. With Manchester City, with no recognised centre-forward, the centre halves have got to be alive all the time because you're going to get runners coming from midfield, and you've got to talk across the back four. The communication is going to be vital today.
Definitely, they've got to be at their absolute best coming up against, as you said, no centre forward, but they've got players all over the pitch that can score.
Yeah.
But back to Everton and someone we've spoken about already, obviously Abdoulaye Doucouré. See him out there warming up now. He looks lively. He looks like he has still got the legs in him to another one. Well, everyone. We need a big performance from everyone, but in that role in midfield.
Yeah, I mean, especially today. I mean, we're in the middle of midfield where Manchester City look to dominate games of football. They look to dominate possession. Abdoulaye's he could be one of those guys, and I mean everybody at Finch Farm will know far better than me. He's one of those guys who might just be a natural athlete, and it doesn't matter if he's out 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, if I'd been out 4 or 5 weeks, I'd need 2 or 3 games to get going again.
Absolutely.
But some people, they're freaks of nature, and Abdoulaye might be one of them. And hopefully for us, his athleticism and his work rate will help us out in the middle of midfield today.
Definitely, well, you said work rate there, and that is something that absolutely every player is going to have to put in their highest work rate, and it should be like that all the time. But as you said, Manchester City, who are a possession-based team, they are going to have most of the possession in this game. We already know that, but someone like Doucouré could be combative in there.
I think the thing today is where we went out against Leeds, we've got to be positive like we were against Leeds, and we need to get these fans off their seats and singing and screaming and whatever, because we know how hostile Goodison Park can be, and we need that atmosphere today. The only thing I would temper that with is that they're so good, Manchester City, and the players that they have are unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And they know when to release the ball, they know when to take a touch, they know when to play first-time football. So when we're closing down, we've got to make sure we do it at the right times. You can't just go gung-ho and just go charging into somebody, because you just bop it round you and play a little 1-2, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're exposed. So we've got to be clever about the way we close everybody, the City sides down. Obviously, go out and make sure we're positive about what we do, but in a clever way.
Absolutely, and somebody else that we've got to speak about as well, Donnie Van Der Beek. It was his first performance at Goodison against Leeds, and he was absolutely outstanding, wasn't he, on his day? And alongside Alan, he could be a really key man in there for us today. Yeah,
you see Donnie there on screen talking with Frank Lampard, and Frank will be in there and say, look, get yourself on the ball. He's got good composure, Donnie Van Der Beek. He's still not probably where he wants to be, fitness-wise and sharpness-wise, but he's getting there. With every passing game, he'll be getting there. With every training session, with every game. But you can tell that when he gets on the ball, he's got that little bit of composure about him and that calmness to pick out the right pass, to slow the game down when we need to slow it down, play the ball first time when we need to play it first time, and speed the game up. So vitally important for us, Donnie Van Der Beek, and the signs are good.
Absolutely. Well, he might get a little bit of stick today, being from their favourite
Maybe a little
club,
bit, yeah.
So we'll have to see how that one goes. But now we're fastly approaching kick-off here, so let's hear it from Frank Lampard.
Frank, tell us about the importance of both sides showing their support for the Ukraine pre-match, and also how you came to the decision to involve Vitali in today's matchday squad.
Well, it's important to show the support. I think that we have a lot of empathy at the club. It's a people's club. But I think generally some of the support you've seen in the sporting world has been fantastic. And when we have a player, and as City do as well, with Vitali for us, I had a conversation, I've had numerous conversations with him. The decision was always his to be involved or not. He's never given me the inkling he doesn't want to be involved, because I think it's a small release for him at the minute to train with us and to feel like he's part of our family. And the essence is on us, the onus is on us to support him, to do what we can. There's not much help we can give other than to know that we're there for him. So tough time for him, and I'm sure both sets of fans will show big reactions to those players.
Football-wise, unfortunately, you've got no Dominick Calvert-Lewin. What's happened?
Dominic felt a small sensation in his groin, the adductor muscle, on Thursday. We feel like it's a small injury, won't be too long, maybe a week to 10 days, but not good enough for today, which is a shame.
Much talk about having to face Manchester City after they've just lost, but in truth, is there never a good time to play a side as good as them?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And most games they lose, they still dominate big periods of the games, and in football it's impossible to win every game. So they're a team that's shown resilience time and time again. Those moments that they do lose, that's what makes them the best, or one of the best, and we just have to be very aware of their strengths, which we are. But it's another game, as in my first 2 games at Goodison, to show what we've got, what we believe in, and the players must feel confident that we can give a very strong game against them and see.
Getting the balls kicked at us from Phil Foden there, aren't we?
I hope their shooting's as bad in a real 90 minutes. I know that.
They're trying to hustle us there, aren't they? I think, Diamond. But literally about to kick off here, not long away at all. It's not necessarily going to be a game that we're confident about winning, but let's put in a good performance.
No, just a positive performance. Yeah, you're right, Sarah. Just a positive performance. Try and get some momentum. I always talk about momentum. Might not get the result. We're up against a world-class side, as I've mentioned earlier, but feel good about yourself when you come off the park. The fans will be with us. We're all excited about it, and we hope we have a great afternoon.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, as ever, Diamond.
Pleasure.
It's been a brilliant show, and that is everything from Everton Live. Let's hope we get a result here today against Manchester City, but we will be back in just a few days' time for Boreham Wood in the FA Cup. Really, really looking forward to that one. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Everton Live.